pretty sure everybody here, safe to say that everybody here had a job from high school or whatever. So, pretty much, what does this mean? After an interview, you guys, after an interview, most jobs will tell you, here's a paper, you gotta go get a drug test. Obviously, it's not a fun thing to do. I'm pretty sure I don't like taking a drug test. It's not like a personal thing or anything, but to me, I thought it was pointless in the beginning, taking a drug test. I'm like, what does this have to do with the job? Like, how's it going to affect your job by taking a drug test? But it shows, like, later on, like, when you actually grow up, and it tells you, like, how you get how it helps you, like, motivate you in the job. I remember one of my friends, my first job was at Disneyland. I got hired there, me and my friend got hired in at the same time. And when they gave me the paper to take the drug test, it was my first job because I wanted a job so bad to make my money. He needed to take the drug test, and he just took the paper and just walked out, and he's like, am I going to do this? Because he was, obviously he was on drugs, but other than that, the three main points I'm going to be talking about today is like how mandatory drug testing would help in a school environment. Also, second point would be how it helps you in a work environment, and the third reason how it filters out unethical people. Everyone knows that the President of the United States is one of the main people that he's the main person in the government, and we put our lives in his hands on an everyday basis. This is the same person that sets down the laws and the backbone of this nation. So why is this person not capable? If he's not taking drug tests, how do we know that he's doing the job mentally? So where do we go from here? Police officers are also that uphold the law. They enforce the law that the government set up for them. The same law should apply to them as they enforce. Obviously, most police officers are corrupt. They probably take the drugs from kids, and I don't know if they use them, but we'll see. We all know drugs are illegal. Illegal in the U.S. is a major problem in this nation. So why does an officer using drugs should be judged like every citizen in this country? Teachers, on the other hand, I think teachers are the role models of our kids when we have kids. So why are they not getting drug tested? Because you never know what the teachers are doing. You see students between 8 hours a day, which equals up to 40 hours a week. So if the teachers have the most influence on our children's life, they should be taking drug tests too. I think I'm pretty sure that no one will argue with me that teachers should be drug tested randomly. This will improve the ethics of many teachers and many standards. First, let me start off with mandatory drug testing in the school environment. Young adults are more likely to involve themselves in narcotics due to the problems at home or peer pressure. Catching these things early can prevent adolescents from becoming involved in drugs later on in life. We all know peer pressure is a major part of the student's life. Like, kids get influenced every day. Especially, you start talking in middle school, you start early off in elementary also. A recent study shows that the U.S. Department of Education Institute reveals that students subject to random drug testing report that lower substance use rates in their counterparts with drug testing. 16% of students who were tested reportedly using drugs in the past 30 days, while 22% of students in school without a random drug testing reported recent use. So in the end, why is it important for kids to get drug tested? Why is it important for kids to get drug tested in school? It's not really to catch the kids that are doing drugs, but it's like to help them motivate them, like to get scared. Because when you're kids, when you're young, and then like your parents teach you like, don't do this anymore. Obviously, you're not going to do it because you're your parents. So it's not really to catch the students that are doing drugs, but to help them like motivate them in life and like stay away from it. Once they're using drugs, it's harder for them to break the addiction. With many employers, drug testing is very important for a kid's future not to use drugs. Did you guys know that 15% of high school seniors use drugs for non-medical purposes? My second point is drug testing in the workplace. Studies show that people that are not on drugs tend to work more efficient and get their work done faster and meet their goals and quotas. Not only will random drug testing save time, but also a lot of money. A study from the United States Postal Service projected that the company would have saved approximately $52 million in 1989 if they have not hired known drug users in 1987. By 1991, the estimated savings increased to about $105 million. Companies that do not conduct pre-employment testing will subject themselves to adverse selection to hire more drug users than what they usually do. Also, people with friends, like, if you know of places that doesn't hire, like, that don't drug test, obviously your friends are going to tell them, like, hey, these places don't, like, drug test, so you should just go right there. But other than that, the reason that increase all types of drug testing among smaller companies. While it's smart business practice cut costs, it's also smart business that make the organization workplace safe as possible. Government studies show that drug-free workplaces increase productivity, employee morals, and makes the workplace more safer. My last reason, it filters out unethical people. Obviously, you can tell from the crackheads and everybody else, like, if you're on drugs or not. People who are involved with narcotics are usually not reliable workers. They are occupied with their habits and therefore do not perform at maximum capacity. Studies show that 20% of drug users show that work on narcotics are unable to succeed and do their jobs on drugs. I have a story that when I was at Disneyland, I got accused. My first job, I was on break, and I was obviously dumb at the time. I was smoking the DiGiorno, and I got accused that it was weed. So they went to take, some lady ratted me out, and the manager, like the big corporate boss, they took me into the office, and they started talking to me, questioning me, pretty much interrogating me. And they're like, why were you smoking drugs? And I told them it was a cigarette, and at that time, I was telling them, like, because they wanted to suspend me at the time, I'm like, why don't you just drug test me? And they told me they couldn't do that. So if I had a mandatory drug test, then it would have been like cleared it up all like on the spot right there. But they said they couldn't do it at the time. Although you guys might like find it's against the First Amendment rights to like do random drug testing, I think it's a good idea, especially for the athletes, because we all know what's happening in the baseball world. And today I talked to you guys about why it's good to drug test random in school, work, and like to help unethical people. And you guys should do this. I think you guys should all go vote to make that like random drug testing. And that's it. Stay off drugs.
Jose, what did you think?
I think your voice was pretty good. You know, I was able to hear you back here. One thing, you did read a lot from your paper, so I really didn't feel that connection. Two examples that you did use pretty good, you know, were the drug testing helps students in school. You know, it helps them, it deters them from using drugs, and also that drug testing makes better companies, you know, because it enforces better standards in them. Two things that I did notice that you know, you didn't really cite. You gave examples about school teachers and how they're how it would be better for them to get drug tested. I feel like it would have been better if it would have been okay if you would have added something like, you know, what the statistics are on schools that drug test the teachers. And then you also say 15% of high school seniors are using drugs, but it feels like it's made up. I don't know where you got that information. And I really like that story about Disney. And that's it. It's pretty good overall.
Yeah, the Disney story is a little inconsistent because you're applying for the job at the beginning and your friend doesn't take the job because, you know, there's a drug test. And now you're in a situation where a drug test would help you and now there's no drug test. So I'm not exactly sure what the problem was in that particular situation, but it looks like you're trying to play both parts of the example in the speech and it's a little inconsistent. I thought you did okay. Starting off with an attempt to connect with the audience a bit, but the issue that you're talking about is not as clearly defined as it needs to be. When you get to the secondary points and you lay them out, I think it's a lot sharper. On the other hand, at the end of the speech, when you're talking about drug testing and you mention testing in sports, I'm not sure, again, if you were talking, you know, what kinds of drugs you're talking about. You talk about illicit drugs, steroids, you know, enhancers, those kinds of things. So there's a mixture of issues that's going on here, and I think that you need to focus and edit your argument a little bit more so that you're focusing on one aspect of it. The second